Okay, we're here for another episode of the Best Life podcast. I'm really excited because I have my friend Jane here. She is the founder of Wagworthy Naturals, one of the best joint supplements for dogs. So I'll let her tell you more about that. Jane, how are you today?
I'm great, Liz. Thanks. Thanks for inviting me on. And hello, everybody out there. It's great to be here.
Of course, I'm so excited to have you here. So first thing, we're gonna kind of let people know that we're gonna talk about the like joint supplements and what kind of like what they should look for, why yours is different. I know it sounds like a product promotion, guys, but really you'll find out soon why I'm kind of like, no, you should really listen to her and what she says about these ingredients and how they work together and everything. And then I really want to touch base in on like senior dog joint health or just senior dog health, like in general.
Okay,
So,
great.
first things first, that I'll ask you right off the bat, Wagworthy Naturals, how did it start? What made you have the light bulb moment?
The light bulb moment. Well, life is a bit of a journey, and sometimes you have to follow the clues. So, Wagworthy Naturals, there's a definite arc in my life that led me to start Wagworthy Naturals. And to start with, when I was in my 20s, I developed chronic fatigue. And I went on this journey to heal myself. And through that experience, I realized about the power of supplements. And that was really, a lot of the doctors said, there's nothing we can do for you. So I put my little biochemist hat on and read like a madwoman. And so that was the first indication to me that supplements can really change things. And I was able to successfully heal myself from that, which I feel really grateful for. So that's number one. And then the second thing that happened to me is I had a dog come into my life that changed my life. And his name was Ty. He was my heart dog. And, you know, so many of us have had, I mean, all my dogs have been special. I've loved them all. They've all made a difference in my world. But Ty was kind of a cut above. I mean, I'm just going to lean forward and whisper, don't tell my husband. But I don't think I've ever quite loved anyone or anything the way I love that dog. And, we had kind of almost telepathic communication. I've never had more fun with a dog than I had with Ty. And we were in a car accident together. And he had just turned 10 and he had to have surgery. And they assured me, they did all these tests. They assured me he was healthy. And I'm just going to make a long story short and say, he developed all these complications. It involved a tremendous amount of suffering on his part. And sadly, I had to let him go as a result. And I just made this pact with myself that with all my next dogs, from my animals from here on out, I was going to I thought I did take great care of them. And it wasn't anything necessarily that I did wrong, but I felt gypped and I wasn't going to let that happen again. And so I've always been on a mission, a little bit obsessively sometimes, to make sure that my dogs were healthy, to give them supplements, to feed them foods, to keep them exercised and healthy, to keep their weight at a good level. And so that was the second piece for me that was really, I would say, one of the pillars that led to me starting my business. The third thing is as a result of that commitment I made to myself with my dogs moving forward, I started to, I basically went back to school. And then I started using supplements and I put together a formula. I was buying all the separate ingredients that really was, my dogs lived to be 17. They were healthy, they were active. So that's the third pillar. And then the fourth pillar, I would say, is I've always been really active in fostering, in rescue, and making a difference for animals in my community. And I and we will get to hip and joint supplements. And I know I could be long-winded, but I was engaged with this humane organization in a small town in New Mexico. And I watched them make a commitment to ending homelessness for animals at the root, offering free spay neuter. And it was as a result of that journey, they decreased their intake levels by 40%. So all these things combined came together, and I realized I wanted to do something to help other people keep their animals healthy. And I also wanted to do something to reduce animal homelessness. And I think that having a for-profit business, just like you, right, with Best
Yeah.
Life, is that you're able to spread a message in a way that not-for-profits,
Mhm.
it's all part of the whole,
It
right?
is. Yeah.
But you're able to reach people and get a message out there in a different way, and not necessarily to a different audience, but maybe to a different audience. But it's all important in helping
Yeah.
to end homelessness for dogs. And that's just part of the fabric of my being. I've just always been really passionate about animals and an animal lover. So I know that's a bit of a long story, but those are the four pillars that led me to start my
Well,
business.
I want to go back to one pillar because remember how I said that listeners out there or watchers, viewers would understand why I'm kind of like, yo, you should listen to this lady about these ingredients. Did you say biochemist?
Yeah.
Let's like that's a pillar. So like I want to see how like how that helped you. Like I'm okay, so like what made you buy these single ingredients and then create this formula? Like did being a biochemist have anything to do with that? Or was it more so just your own research?
Well, both. You can't discount, right, that that's my background and that I worked in research, mostly more in immunology and virology, but I'm interested in the mechanics of the body and how it works. So I have that, knowledge and
Knowledge.
experience, right? So when I started researching things, um, I'm a I'm a little bit of a nerd, but I'm also extraordinarily visual. And so when I read about how the body mechanics work, I actually see it in my mind.
That's cool.
And I can attribute that actually to I'm going to just give a shout out to my first biochemistry teacher, and who could draw things on with both hands at the same time on the blackboard. And because, I'm dating myself here, but we had blackboards back then. And also my first textbook had all these beautiful pictures in it of the body, and the Krebs cycle and the mitochondria, and it became real to me. And I didn't realize at the time that I had a creative brain, but I would dream about the body's processes, and I would dream about um, chemical reactions, the molecules coming together and breaking apart like they were dancers at night.
Yeah, that's so
And it's
cool.
funny. Um,
It's almost like that the musicians they have the is it synesthesia where they
Something
can
like,
see the music or like music is shapes and colors.
yeah,
It's almost like a science version of that. That's pretty
yeah,
wicked. That's
yeah. So,
cool.
and not that many other science people that I've spoken with have that, but every now and again, I'll come across someone who's saying, oh, I have that too.
That's cool. Oh man, I
Yeah.
wonder if there's like you could like
So,
invent a term for it. I'm all like,
yeah. So when I would do the research of these various ingredients, first of all, I had the basis from having done that when I had chronic fatigue, right? So I had that experience, and then I started doing that with my own dogs, and so I can't really separate one from the other,
that makes sense.
you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
That's cool. And
yeah.
so with the, like you're saying how like it all kind of came together. I want to focus on the two pillars of one, the ingredients. And
Mhm.
then yeah, I'm not asking to give like a secret formula or
No, it's okay.
anything
Hey,
like
it's
that.
written on the back of the bottle, so
That's true. That's true.
yeah, it's not
But
secret.
also I want to look at the pillar of actually I might have to combine it into two pillars like the animal rescue and the senior dog health and things like that. So first things first, and it's just really cool to me how you explain this to me with the ingredients having the synergistic properties. And so if you could kind of put that, I'm really bad at putting that in layman's terms and kind of explain like each
Just
one,
yeah.
what people should look for and the quality, just kind of go into the ingredients of Wagworthy
Okay.
and
And the first thing I'm going to say is it's really important to everyone out there listening. When you go buy supplements for your dogs, I'm just going to tell you, and this is more so true with dog supplements than human supplements, but there is no governing body that analyzes or has created standards for animal supplements. They're not regulated. So I'm going to encourage people, you get what, just like dog food, same with supplements, you get what you pay for. So if you're buying a discount product at a discount store, and if you were to take that supplement and have it analyzed in a lab, chances are the concentration of ingredients listed on the bottle is not actually what's being delivered. So because there's no rules and regulations. And what we do is we, with all the ingredients that come, the raw ingredients that come in, we test them 3 times for purity and potency. And we also send them out to, I was going to say out of state, that's not the right term, but an out of house lab.
Third party.
Third party. Thank you. Third party. Yes. To test. And then we do the same with the finished product. It's tested 3 times because sometimes things happen, I mean, we have really high standards, but we want to make sure that the final ingredient is what it says it is. And then we also, with every run that we do, we keep a case aside that we just keep in our warehouse so that if, there's ever any issue with any lot, which we've never had because we're anal, but we could go back and say, okay, did we miss something?
Nice. Okay.
So we just have the long story, to make the long story short, the standards are really high, right? And so pay attention to what you buy and where you buy it from. That's, what I encourage everyone to think of. And then when, in coming up with this formula, we look at how not only individual ingredients on their own, but how do they work together as a whole? And certain ingredients work synergistically together. So you can think of it as like, in more scientific terms, it's a cofactor, right? But it's also like the ingredients hold hands and together they're stronger than they are in terms of how they work in the body than they are individually on their own.
So it's like it increases their efficacy.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So we start off with glucosamine, which everyone knows that term. It's derived from shellfish, and it is a powerful chondroprotective. So that's a little bit of a big word. Essentially what it means is it's like building blocks for the joints. And something to know about joints, and this is true for humans as well as for dogs, is joints don't have their own blood supply. So when you move or when your dog moves, right, it works as like a pump, and that pumps in the building blocks and the nutrition for joints and cartilage. So part of why I tell everyone this is keep your dogs moving.
Yeah, that's what I say. Really important. Arthritis and things.
Yeah, like because there's like a negative feedback loop that gets created. So they get a little stiff. They don't want to move as much. You think, oh, my dog is slowing down. So you don't walk them as much. And then so that means that the building blocks are not being pumped into their joints, so it's a little bit of a vicious cycle. And one of the reasons why hip and joint support is so important, and I'm just a really big proponent of it, is if your dog starts to develop arthritis and has inflammation, what that looks like inside the body is it's cartilage degrading enzymes that are produced as a result of inflammation. So start your dog early rather than later, if that makes sense. I hope I'm saying that in a way that makes sense. Because once they stop moving, that's when osteoarthritis, the effects of osteoarthritis become more and more degenerative. So you want to keep inflammation low. So glucosamine is a chondroprotective. It's a building block. Chondroitin works in conjunction. Those are like, they hold hands, right? They work together. They make each other more powerful. And then MSM, which is a natural anti-inflammatory. And that's a great ingredient. And that also improves immune function as well. So it's lowering joint inflammation. It's improving immune function. It's
And is that overall immune? Like,
yeah, yep. And it helps restore collagen, and it's a natural and an effective anti-inflammatory. And I'm a big fan of anti-inflammatories. So that brings us to the fourth ingredient, which is hyaluronic acid. And hyaluronic acid is naturally occurring in joint fluid, and it's what gives joints like their tackiness. If you've ever seen, I hope you've never have, but if you've ever seen joint fluid, it's really viscous, almost like honey, not quite as viscous as honey, but kind
a
of
lubricant.
Yeah, it's a lubricant. It's in between olive oil and honey, right? Is sort of it's in its healthy state. But what happens is, and that provides lubrication and shock absorption. But as we get older, that our natural concentrations of hyaluronic acid or HA tend to kind of break down. And so that contributes to pain and decreased mobility. And excuse me here, I'm going to get a little bit, um, you know, into the nerd zone, but
Nerd out, girl.
hyaluronic acid can be absorbed when you take it orally. So, years ago, we used, and they still do this, but I remember, I worked in with equine veterinarians, and they inject it straight into the joint, which is great. That's expensive and not necessarily necessary, but by taking it orally, the body can use that HA. So let's get to the next ingredient, which is vitamin C. And dogs naturally produce vitamin C as they age. Naturally produce vitamin C. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. But as they age, or they're sick or stressed or injured, they can rapidly deplete their vitamin C levels. And also, as they age, they're less effective at producing vitamin C. So dogs supplemented with vitamin C, they show greater resistance to disease and better able to recover from injury or illness. It improves immune function. It's a cofactor in the formation of healthy joint tissue. And it helps increase the blood levels of interferon, which have natural antiviral and anti-cancer properties. So like vitamin C does so many great things.
Vitamin C is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's a powerful antioxidant. And a lot of times my clients will say to me, wow, I started giving your supplement to my dog. And not only is he running around, more easily, but he's got this incredible burst of energy. And that's a combination of feeling better, joints moving more smoothly, but it's also that vitamin C that gives them a bump. And I could go on about vitamin C, but like it inhibits tissue and collagen degeneration by working in conjunction with other vitamins and minerals. So there's so much really great stuff that vitamin C does. And it's a really great thing to supplement your dog with if they've had like injury or surgery. It's really helpful for healing.
So especially any sort of like T-pillow or hip or back. Those types of things. Okay.
All those things, So, and then we also include tart cherry, which is a really powerful antioxidant, and it's high in something called anthocyanins. And they're created by that red plant pigment, and really powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. And that gives this everything. It's like gives all the other ingredients a boost. So it strengthens the integrity of cell membranes, and it promotes the integrity of healthy cartilage cells. It makes them more robust. And there's some evidence, although, I can't really say that there have been massive studies on it, but that it may protect against both cancer and heart disease. Wow. So, and there's also a sprinkling of vitamin E in there, and a little bit of omegas as well. So
I'm going to start taking it.
What's that?
I'm going to start taking it.
A lot of people say that. So it's just, those are all the ingredients that I just would start, like a little bit of mad scientist in me. Oh, like a little of vitamin C, a little tart cherry, a little, you know, and I
The
started
little
giving
juice.
all these things to my dog, who is such a good sport. Um, but anyway, so that's our first product. And, you know, I started off launching this business, and then I realized, oh, I need to know a little bit more about marketing my business online. So I've focused on that and building our brand. Um, and we will be rolling out some new products later this year. I'm really excited about that. So
I'm excited about that.
yeah. So
That's
did
cool.
I know I hardly took a breath there, but
No, that was awesome. I mean, so here's what's really cool is that I feel like, people are always told, always move if your joints or your, yours or your dog's like keep them moving,
yes.
keep them moving. Vitamin C is good for you, this and like we're always told these things, but no one ever tells us why or how or so it's really awesome to be able to sit there and go, oh, that's why, because it's a lot easier to go, I know my dog looks like he's sore when he moves, but like this is good for him, and this is why. Like,
Yes.
it's that kind of like it helps it make sense. It's so
Mhm.
you're not just like blindly like, oh well, the doctor said to. Like there's a why to it, and I really appreciate that because I had no idea. I always knew that you're just supposed to keep moving, and I'm like, oh yeah, so they don't like freeze up or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
no one ever really explains it, why. So no, I appreciate that. That was cool. It was cool watching you be passionate about it and your little your little droppers, your mad scientist moment was
Yeah.
cool.
Little eye of newt. I like to joke. That's what my husband says.
That's awesome. Well, no, that's like, I mean, what a cool way to, take a negative, unfortunately, a couple of negative, like, are unpleasant. I don't want to say negative, I want to say
Challenging.
unpleasant, yeah, yeah. And just sort of run with that to create something or to do good with and use it as an opportunity, versus it just being like a unpleasant situation that you had to endure. So I appreciate that a lot. I really respect that. That is really cool. And not only are you taking it to turn into something good, but you're taking it to turn into something good and that helps others, and that's just kind of like that double whammy. That's really awesome, definitely a creative person and obviously like a kind-hearted, good person. And I want to take it even further. You took that like third step, of helping and talk about, how you're involved with the rescue community or just, animal welfare, I guess I should say, and
Yeah.
advocacy.
Um, Liz, thank you. I appreciate that, you know, that kind of support.
Yeah,
And I just want to say really quickly about, what you talked about, taking a positive, a negative and making a positive. I really feel like life is, I said I kind of had to follow the breadcrumbs in my life to arrive where I have. And I just encourage everyone out there that, life is what we make of it. It's a journey. Um, and in terms of animal welfare, as I mentioned earlier, I was engaged with this and still am this organization in a small town in northern New Mexico that saw their intake rates drop by 40%. And I've kind of made it my
so cool.
mission to spread. I think about, we all want to help shelter dogs. We all want to make a difference. Well, I mean, we're here because we love dogs, right?
Yep.
And but what my passion is encouraging people to think about not just helping that next dog get a home, but also think about how do we address this problem at its root. And so we donate money to humane education. We donate money to free and low cost spay neuter programs. And, a particular passion of mine is senior dogs because it always kind of like really squeezes my heart when I see a senior dog end up in a shelter or a rescue. And, sometimes it just can't be helped. Like their person passes away or goes into assisted living, can't bring the dog. There are a lot of reasons why. I mean, there are crappy reasons why senior dogs end up in shelters too. I'm not going to deny that. But, you know, you can't, it, at least from my philosophy, Liz, is can't, the best, you can't get away from, if you're going to help animals, you've got to help people too. It's, the problem comes from the humans,
Yeah.
And so we've got to help humans be better, and I
Yeah.
think as brands, we're in a unique proposition. We're in a unique position to spread knowledge and awareness, just like you do that with your, the stripes, 2 white stripes, encouraging people to adopt more, right? So, my passion is dripping out information to help people realize, oh, yes, I'm going to donate to my local shelter, but, I'm also going to donate to humane education. I'm also going to donate to, programs that support people to provide free spay neuter. And I'm not here to judge anyone who maybe doesn't have the resources to spay or neuter their dog or doesn't have the awareness. I'd rather help them, give them some tools, right? And raise our consciousness about why that's important. And so, I thought about starting a not-for-profit before I started my business. And then I realized, no, I think I can provide the most good by with Wagworthy. Did I
You can
answer
reach
your
that
question?
audience. Yeah, you did. You did. You can
Okay.
reach that audience that, um, you know, they're possibly not interested in nonprofits, so they wouldn't hear that message anyway, but they are interested in the joint supplements and the business and what it's doing. And then all of a sudden they hear that message to become interested in the nonprofits. So it's, all working together. It's all like
It's
one
it's all an important piece.
synergistic.
Yeah. It's all an important piece of it. Like it takes
Yeah,
they say it takes a village.
it
Well,
does. It does. And I
yeah.
love how you kind of reiterated that it's not really the reason why the senior dog is there. Like we can't, like it's there,
Yeah.
it's there. But what we can do is focus on how to prevent more from being there and not judging and not saying like, oh, it says, there's never any. I had uh Zach on here before, and he like talked about how he had to give up, his family dog, and he founded one of the biggest like dog rescues in California right now. I mean, it's
Wow.
been all over the news and stuff. And he said, yeah, I had to give up my dog as a kid. And it was gut wrenching, heart wrenching, but it's what we had to do, And so I think that this, the judgment, the anger, that's sort of unfortunately developed behind the passion of dog rescue or animal rescue, animal welfare. We kind of need to like tuck that away and like put that anger over here and tuck it in away real deep and like deal with it later. And more so just kind of like reach from our front pocket of humanity and empathy and understanding and kind of remember like, hey, we've all been in, sorry, but shitty situations and didn't choose that. And how much would it suck if like somebody like was like angry at us for it, and I love that. I love that you're kind of sitting here going like, hey, donate to these programs that are like, if you want to help animals, help the humans.
Yeah.
That's who.
It's connected.
Yeah.
We can't get away from that. And some people will take anger and use that as fuel to do good work.
Yeah.
But for me, that kind of judgment takes energy. I'd rather put my energy into healing. Everybody
Yeah.
finds their way with it. I always cringe a little bit when I see people on social media, talk about how crappy people are. And there's plenty of evidence out there.
We
There's
know
plenty
we're
of
crappy.
evidence. There's plenty of evidence. I want to lead from my heart. That's just my own personal philosophy. And thank you. Obviously, we're on the same page with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like we already know we're crappy, we suck. Let's like, not focus on that. Let's just put that back here and like, hey, let's,
Yeah.
let's take this right
Well,
here and be like, but this is good.
I want to move forward,
Yes.
like I
That's
said,
it. Yeah.
I want to, my hope is that 10 years from now, I can say, wow, we funded X many spay or neuters. We helped X many people understand, why they should, why a dog is for life, why they should be kind to their animal. And think about it. If they're kinder to animals, probably they can be kinder to people, their children, their community.
You
So,
said it, man. You said it,
yeah.
girl. That's it. That's
Yeah.
all it takes, you know? And it's so funny because it's like, we're like, that's all it takes, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it takes all of us. It takes
Yeah.
all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I love, what you're doing. And
Thank
I
you.
mean, like I said, you're helping dogs that, need joint support. You're helping people get quality products for their dog for the joint support, and not just joint, like overall health, like overall well-being. And I want to like personally vouch for a second that our little rescue Frenchie Buddha, unfortunately, he endured something when he was younger. We don't really know, that made his back feet sort of like drag, like he doesn't walk
Mhm.
right. And there were some other issues in the back end. So we're thinking that there's some spinal damage, maybe from like grabbing by the hips and pulling. We don't know. Either way, that's what we were dealing with. And he started taking it recently. Oh, there he is now. I know you can't see him, but did you hear your name? But and we've seen a difference, a huge difference, in just how he walks and being able to walk further. So he'll always drag, but you can tell there's a strength there that wasn't there before. So I can personally vouch, for the synergistic properties of your ingredients and your products. I also have a friend who I was just telling Jane about right before we started the podcast. She started her very allergy prone blue rescue pit on it and has seen amazing, tremendous results. So it is, I really have to like emphasize, like Jane said before, just quality products, and I know it's tough sometimes. It's not always easy. Um, and there are programs out there that can help. In fact, go to Wagworthy Naturals website and reach out, or there's probably listed some programs on there. There's all ways that you can reach out. And even this podcast, if there's a way that you need help or you're not sure how you can get that for your dog, we're here and we're here to help. So please reach out through that. One really quick question, because we are running out of time, that I wanted to talk to you about, that I hear a lot and I really never know like how to answer for people. Um, my dog's already a senior. Is it too late to start the
No,
joint supplement?
definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, I get, you know, uh, letters from customers who say, one of my favorites is, my 16-year-old dog has started jumping on people again since I started giving him your hip and joint supplement. So no, it's not too late. It's never too late. And your dog might have some damage from osteoarthritis, but this could really help him. And some dogs who do have quite a bit of damage, you can see it on x-rays, are really helped. I mean, dogs are like people. We're all individuals, but it definitely can help. And I also want to encourage people to start your dog on it, like when they get into 5, 6, 7, depending on the circumstances, but it's better to start sooner rather than later. But if you haven't, don't let that stop you. Go ahead and give it a try. I swear your dog will thank you. So
Yeah.
it's always worth giving it a try. I'm just going to hold this up really quickly. Here we are.
Yes. Let us
Yes, Wagworthy.
hear.
Yep, there. And if you go to our website, I'm going to create a coupon code for you guys, and we'll use Buddha, right? Or should we use Best Life? What would you like?
Let's do best life.
Okay, so
Buddha
Best
is like
Life.
weird to spell.
Okay, all right. Oh, good point. So we'll do Best Life, and we'll do 15% off. And also, if you go to, if you have any questions, my email address is jane@wagworthynaturals.com.
Point right here. I'm going to have them put the email address right there.
wagworthynaturals.com. And if you have any questions, go ahead and email me. And also, if you're interested, I have a free pet health planner that has some good pointers in it, as well as, it's something that helps you keep track of your dog's health. So send me an email and I'll send you the download for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Jane.
Yeah.
And we will also include a link to Wagworthy Naturals website. We'll include a link to that download that you just mentioned,
Cool.
all down in the description here on the video. I'm sure that we'll have some stuff popping up for the code. It's called Best Life. It'll get you 15% off of your bottle of Wagworthy Naturals. Go ahead and head there now. We'll have a link for that as well. And yeah, Jane, thank you so much. I feel like I just learned a lot. And yet I don't feel like I was like learning.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for your great questions. And thanks for all you do. I just feel really grateful that Best Life is out there. And I'm,
Yeah.
deeply grateful for what you do. So, it takes one to know one, as they say. So thank you again.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, guys.
Yeah.
So we are going to sign off because Jane and I will just keep saying thank you like all day to each other. Let's keep doing it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And until next episode, go get your dog on some joint supplements. Bye, Jane. Thank you.
Bye.
You guys.